Hi, Joey and I are just gonna chat through our experiences at UCL. So, first of all, why did I choose UCL? So it's one of the best universities in the country and dare I say the world. It's in London and there's always something going on here. You can go to Parliament on your day off, and there are so many museums. I think Marley mentioned earlier that the you can walk to the British Museum from the institute. And life at UCL, generally speaking, is very fast moving. There's lots and lots of people. But what really attracted me to the institute is the fact that it's a lot more relaxed. So you've got a community within a community, and there are many different communities at UCL, and it's nice that there are lots of people here, so you can choose very much which communities you want to belong to.
No, for sure. I mean, the reasons I picked UCL are a lot of them are much the same, but I do definitely want to emphasize the number of people, the size of UCL, because you just meet so many different fantastic people, learn about so many different perspectives, like people that you meet on the course and people you meet at other random things as well. One of my really good friends, she's from Singapore, and I would have never met her in any normal aspect of life. She does law, I do history. She obviously wants to go into law, and I don't necessarily. So we shouldn't have met each other, but through UCL, because it's such a massive uni, we did, and I found out way more about her different culture and about a bunch of other different cultures as well. And that's one really fantastic positive thing about UCL.
Yeah, it's crazy. There are so many international students, and it makes me smile because there are a lot of American students in my year. So it's really interesting to gain their take on kind of British study of the Americas. But for me, I've always really liked American politics and American history. I knew very little about Latin America, but now I'm basically obsessed. But I really like the flexibility around the degree, the fact that you've got an option of a language and the year abroad. So not only are you enriching yourself academically, you've got all these kind of life skills that you're available to develop. Um, you've also got the option of elective modules in the second year, so there's more room to branch out. And I guess why I picked this over history is the holistic aspect, which I think has already been mentioned, the fact that you gain a more in-depth understanding of the atmosphere, and you're not spread too thin, which I think you very much see with history, the fact that you're studying all these different places in all these different time periods. And I also think it's easier to revise because you can bring in things that you've learned from other lessons and other modules into other areas of the course.
No, for sure. I've really enjoyed the stuff I've studied, all the different things I've studied while at the institute, while at UCL. Um, I think that I'm personally quite a big history nerd. Apologies to my politics professors in this call, but I'm personally a really big fan of history. But studying politics in the way that we do at the institute has made me gain a new appreciation for it. There's a lot of I didn't realize how much I find statistics particularly interesting. Because there's some really interesting ways you can like break down populations and look at things to really understand what's going on in the present day in a way that a purely historical analysis wouldn't let you, in much the same way that only looking at the present day and not looking at the past won't gain you a full picture of everything either. So the holistic approach, allowing you to see a bit of everything, is just really fantastic and a really great part of the course.
Yeah, the lecturers and teachers here are absolutely amazing. Like even on a less academic note, everyone here is really really supportive. So I was unfortunate enough to be involved in an accident at Christmas, so I was on crutches for all of the second term. And I was going to intermit, but I wrote a really panicked email to Nadia, and she said, "Jess, we can make this work. Don't worry." So I genuinely would have had to postpone my studies and come back a year later if it hadn't have been for everyone kind of banding around me and how well supported I felt in coming back.
No, absolutely. And then obviously on a on thankfully
Less
slightly less
extreme.
yeah, less extreme examples. There's actually another thing you can do through uni. There are loads of opportunities for work. So I picked up some work that was advertised to me through Debate Society, and one of the requirements was that I got some references. And getting references from the institute was just so fantastic. It was just really quick, really easy, because everyone is just so helpful and so just willing to give you a hand to help you out. I think that then brings me on to talking about debating and stuff like that, brings me on to student societies, which have been a massive part of my studies. I've really, really enjoyed them. I've been involved in arguably too many. I elected to be part of two different committees this year, so helping to run a couple of different societies, which has just been really fantastic. They Societies at UCL, because it's such a massive uni, because there's 40,000 people here, pretty much everything you can think of, there is a society for, and even things that you wouldn't expect there to necessarily be. So I'm actually a card-carrying member of the UCL Bubble Tea Society, which gets me discounts at bubble tea at places across London and Camden, in particular, which is just really good fun and really useful, but something that I did not expect to be joining when I came here. In much the same way, I play American football at uni, which is something I've never done before, but I just thought it might be interesting, and I met some really great lads and went for it. It's just been really, really fantastic. So yeah, so I've really enjoyed that. So I would recommend um, coming to when, if and or when you come to UCL, you come to your Freshers Week and all the sort of associated things. Societies are really good fun. I would recommend getting involved, just going along to have a look, because you meet so many fantastic people from so many things you just wouldn't expect to exist. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else in particular. I mean, the other thing is, it was mentioned earlier, sort of studying a language. I don't know if you study one, Jess?
Yeah, I do Spanish, and I've really enjoyed it this year, and I would highly recommend you all do Spanish, because it's really helpful if you take the Latin American module, because then you can read the primary sources yourself, and as well, it's a really nice break from doing all these like hours and hours of reading for history and politics.
No, for sure. So I did Spanish last year. Personally, for me, it's the emphasis on the last year part, but that's the great thing about the Institute. They let you try things out, you know. You can give things a go. This year, instead of taking Spanish, I took an elective from the history department. But it's just been really good fun. That's the sort of thing that you can do. And actually, I know so a really good friend of mine on the course, she took Spanish last year. She's taking it this year, with a view to going to Colombia next year, where she had minimal, if any, knowledge of Spanish before coming to university, and now she's next year going to go to study in Bogota and just speak Spanish for an entire year, which is just a fantastic opportunity that this course gives you. But yeah,
So yeah,
so
I
that
guess on that note, we'll head over to Josh.
yeah, so we'll hand over to Josh to talk more about the fantastic study abroad stuff. But if you guys have any other questions at all, please feel free to drop
Yeah,
either of
feel
us
free
an
to
email.
email.
Okay, thank you very much, Jess and Joey. It's great to get the perspective of our current students. So, as I said before, my name is Josh Hollins. I'm teaching fellow in US history here at the Institute, but I'm also the study abroad tutor at UCL Institute of the Americas. So, as you will be aware, if you elect to take our History and Politics of the Americas BA degree with the year abroad, you will spend your third year in one of our fantastic partner institutions in North America, Latin America, or the Caribbean. And so part of my role is to support students as they consider where they would like to spend their year abroad, and to liaise with UCL's Central Study Abroad office to help with applications to partner institutions for visas, financial aid, insurance, and etc. And we've got a fantastic list of our study abroad partners. Today, I'm going to run us through some of the places where you can spend your year abroad, those partner institutions in the US, Canada, Latin America, and the Caribbean. I'll talk about some of the benefits of studying abroad more generally in terms of educational opportunity, personal development, and career opportunities. And as I said, we have already a great selection of top-ranked universities to choose from, and we're growing international partnerships all the time. And I think it's really impressive as a relatively new degree program that we're able to offer so many supporting partner institutions. So to begin with, I'll run us through our partners in North America. In Canada, we currently offer opportunities to study in Montreal and Toronto, some of the top universities in Canada. In the United States, we have some more amazing partners, including in Washington, D.C. or its surrounding areas at the University of Maryland and George Washington University. So a real opportunity to go from London to Washington, D.C. to gain further insights into political structures and so on. We've got partners who demonstrate great expertise in terms of indigenous communities. I'm thinking here about the University of Washington in Seattle. Our latest partner is the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia, and that's a great city in which to base yourself and to gain further understanding of the history of the United States. I would say at the moment our most popular choice to study abroad is the University of California, perhaps because we offer so many different locations in which you have the opportunity to study, including UC Berkeley, UCLA, San Diego, Santa Barbara, and so on. So students, if you apply to the University of California, you rank where you would like to go, but then it is up to the University of California where you're assigned, but more often than not, people do receive one of their top choices. Some of the other locations: Purdue University in Indiana, University of Texas in Austin, Northwestern University just north of Chicago in Illinois, and so on. Now, in Latin America and the Caribbean, we're growing our partnerships there, but we already have offer exchanges with leading institutions in Mexico City, in Bogota, in Colombia, Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, Buenos Aires, Argentina, Chile, and Lima in Peru. And here I want to point out the language on this slide, which suggests that UCL's portfolio of exchange opportunities is reviewed on an annual basis. As such, exchange partners and placements available to students from specific UCL departments are subject to change each academic year. But this is also because our list of partner institutions is constantly growing. And so you can see here exchange agreements currently underway with the University of the Antilles in the French West Indies, the University of the West Indies in Jamaica, and in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And in the US, we're currently running through exchange agreements with the University of North Carolina, University of Massachusetts Amherst, and also most recently University of Florida. So this is an exchange program that is constantly growing.